Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Now, you probably have to be born at least in the early 90s to recognize what this is. This is a cat's eye marble. I found this one digging around in the new backyard while I was trying to prepare some underground conduits for the shed. Had to get that done before the slab got poured, managed to get it done, but along the way I came across this, and this, in my childhood, being someone born in 92, when marble season came around in primary school, it was all that was happening outside of the classrooms. So this brings back huge memories. The cat's eye was actually a pretty dodgy one. No one really wanted them, but you used them to try to work your way up to some of the real popular ones. I remember the Pepsis, the Galaxies. We had different names for all of them. The lightning bolts were similar to this, but way more valuable. These things were worth more than gold to us. And seeing this real beat up one, who knows how long it's been in the ground for, but essentially it is just a ball of glass. So I want to try to restore it. And to do that, I think I'm just going to stick with the hard resin burrs, the classic kit. We're going to go 200 to 1500 to see how well they work on something like this, some just pure glass. It's very similar to opal. You can see it's prone to chipping just as well as opal. That big one's probably where I hit it with a shovel, but I just want to see how the burrs go on a bunch of different materials, and glass is one of those materials that I'm interested in. So I'm going to whip them out and we're going to see if we can clean this up to the point where we can actually see what's going on inside. And I should be able to see my finger behind it. Might have to give it a bit of a cerium oxide polish as well. But let's spin up and see if we can get rid of all of this little pitting. Alright, I will say my 200 grit hard diamond resin burr is feeling very sore after this. I didn't realise, but the glass marbles are pretty hardened glass. And with all these little chips, I'm literally just grinding it up against the cheese grater, and the burr did not appreciate it. Certainly did more damage than what the marble itself is worth, but you can see here, look at how quickly the burr is turning into mud. So I'm just dipping it and wiping it off, checking underneath just to see how we're progressing. I'm not familiar with this material. Now I know a lot more, and I would do this very differently. Certainly wouldn't go straight at it with the 200 grit, because as you can see, every sweep is just chewing the burr up. It is working though. If I did this with a Nova, we would be in real bad shape. But the chips are everywhere, and I mark them up with the permanent marker, and you can see the little glints there. Pretty deep, so we're going to have to go right to the bottom of them. Over time, as we're grinding further and further down, the burr did get attacked by the marble a lot less. So you can see here, it's not quite as bad anymore. When it was fully chipped up, it was, I was grinding against a very evil little ball of glass. And had I known better, I would have probably gone with the 600 grit sintered diamond and tried my best just not to cause any chipping. But you can see here, we're just going pretty fast, pretty aggressively, and you can stop and have a look at your permanent marker and it'll just seep into the little sections. That's all the stuff you want to remove. So I'd be saying they're going in about a mil or so the ball's going to get lots smaller. And then there was this one real deep one. There was another one that wasn't so great, but this one was the deepest. And looking at it, I decided I had to really cut it off. So I used the 200 grit burr to just make a little flat spot. And the rest of the ball is pretty fuzzy. There's one other chip there, but I can get rid of that with the 400 grit. So here it is wet. You can see it's we're still not being able to see right through. You might think that this is actually worse than where it was when we started, but at least all of the scratches are much smaller than what they were before. It's definitely nowhere near polished, but this is how it works. You have to go all the way back to the start to progress and get a final shiny ball. So we'll go up to the 400. You can see it's also getting degraded pretty quickly. You can see there a little bit of green mud. That is the dye from the resin. And then you can see here it's getting frosty. The feel of the 400 is actually pretty funny. It feels really fuzzy. Even though you know it's glass that you're handling, it actually feels a bit furry, which is kind of cool. It's got that full frosty look. You definitely can't see inside until you hit it with some water, and then you get to be able to see, but we need it to look like that when it's finished, not just underwater. So we move up, 800 grit. At this point, I'm happy to say that the burrs were not getting damaged so much at all. The 800 grit transitioning from the 400 did not turn into instant mud. It actually put up quite a good showing and got through the glass pretty well. As you can see, we're starting to be able to see the features inside, Feels much smoother, no longer feels too furry, and we've just got a little bit further to go. We're starting to get a little bit of light bouncing back, but not very much. We definitely need to take it a lot further. If I give it a very light wetting, you can see the features are much less distorted. This is kind of what you want to see at this stage. And then we go the 1500 here. I was very happy that there was no more real strong abrasive against the burr. So the marble is definitely smooth, it's definitely hit its mark, and now we can use the 1500 for pretty much as long as we want. It will degrade over time, but nowhere near as much as the others. I'm certainly going to have to put the other, at least the 200 and 400 grit burrs on the shop as individual buyers, because people that have bought these kits are going to need to replace those ones much more frequently than the 1500 and the 800. And you can see here, I always just like to give it a little wipe and check and make sure that it's progressing well. And it looks pretty good. You can see here, it's almost at that point where it's pretending to be polished. It's very close, not quite there. You can still see a lot of little scuffs here and there. Definitely get that more even before you transition to the polishing metal oxide. And you'll also be able to see your fingerprints pop up really easily at this stage. And then to finish this one off, we just hit it with the cerium oxide. And I will say, it really did struggle on this. I haven't tried to polish up this kind of glass before. And I think it is the glass. It's just really tough and it doesn't really want to get too shiny. I didn't want to push it too far and hard because I'm spending time polishing a 50-cent marble, or actually it's probably less than that. But either way, it's a lot of work to put into something that doesn't really have as much value as a gem opal. When it's a gem opal, you want to take all the time you've got, but here it was just kind of a quick little tizzy up just to get it shiny enough, but not a gemstone level polish. I still think the aluminium oxide might have done a better job with the tougher glass. It seemed to be removing very slowly compared to an opal, and I think the aluminium oxide would have been the way to go because it's just a great default abrasive and we're not relying on any chemical interactions, just purely abrasive. But let's have a look at the final result. Well, this was a bit of a different one. The marble has taken a great polish. The only thing that annoys me is as I was working on it, I didn't realise that this one had, if I can get rid of the glare, see all of these little things? I thought, as I was carving away, that they were just imperfections on the surface, so I kept grinding away. Turns out, that's just all the little bubbles. So there are so many little bubbles in this marble, which I didn't even really notice because it was so smashed up on the face. But now that I've got it all scrubbed up and polished, you can see if I can get the glare to disappear, all of these bubbles, hundreds of little bubbles, deep inside the thing. Some of them I got all the way to the surface, because if you look here on this cat's eye, I've got that right to the edge. I haven't had it poking out, or actually no, maybe I do. I've just got the tip of it starting to poke out now. Probably on both sides. I had to take off a lot of material. Of course, I've taken that flat, just because there was a big crack. That's probably where I hit it with the shovel. Everywhere else, it's managed to keep its spherical shape pretty well. It actually wasn't as difficult as I thought. And now I got like a little bit of a snow globe kind of thing where I can just sit it there. But yeah, check out all the bubbles. How annoying is that? Don't know why I didn't see that. I just expected to see a nice crystal clear ball. But anyway, it was pretty fun. I haven't handled a marble in such a long time. Just reminds me of primary school. And hopefully the burrs showed what they could do on just pure glass. I will mention that with the glass, the cerium oxide does not act as quickly as it did with the opal. Like, I reckon I might go over this whole thing again with the aluminium oxide just to scrub it up a bit more, because I think it's because it's a non-hydrated silica to begin with. It actually takes a lot longer to get that chemical reaction, so you're probably better off just going full abrasive and then just hitting it with that aluminium oxide, which is just gonna scrub off the surface nice and final polished. But you can see it does work out in the long run. It just took way longer than I thought. All in all, the only other thing I want to mention is what happened to my burrs. So it's most obvious here. Because the marble glass is a bit more aggressive than my opals and it had all those little chips in it, look how it's chewed up my burr. It's really cooked it in. You can see how it's undulating. Because it's such a spherical ball, that really convex kind of surface on that edge of the marble means that it contacts really small. And because of that small contact, I absent-mindedly just went away with it, and I can feel it rubbing my finger here, but you can see it on the top here. I kept it in that middle center spot a little bit too long and it started bowing. I noticed it, and then I started trying to spread it across the burr, and I ended up bowing it there as well, missing this thick section in the middle and working on the bottom to taper that one back in. I should have just worked that little point there a little bit more, and then I would have been able to keep it straight. Definitely not worth restoring marbles with these burrs, because that black got chewed up pretty well. You can see once you get to the high grit, not a problem, but when it was in that real cheese grater starting point, it really did do a number on my burr. That's why we like to use the 600 grit sintered diamond, but I thought that would shatter the surface of the marble and take it backwards even further, so I just tried going with the 200 hard resin. And yeah, it copped a bit of damage. The green as well, the green was getting blitzed, but because I had already noticed it with the black, I tried to avoid it a bit more with the green. I can feel that it's worn slightly just here. You can see it a little bit, but I was much better at spreading the damage across the length of the burr. You always want to try to keep it fairly even, but it is difficult, and with something heavily convex, because there's just a tiny point touching, you can very quickly wear channels into your burrs. So just try to make sure that you spread the damage and go up and down. It's nice, the older burrs, keep them, set them aside, and save them for times when you need the ones that go to a smaller point or a sharper taper. You can really shape these over time to whatever you want. Or if you really just want to restore it, so what I could do with this 200 grit, if I really want to restore that, I can just get the aluminium oxide dressing stick. Turns out I have one just sitting off to the side there. I could get this aluminium oxide dressing stick and just grind that up against it, and you can see those little gaps there. I could grind that back so that it's a nice straight barrel again. That's the thing with carving things that you've never tried before. You're always learning, even with opal. Maybe you learn a little bit less and less as you keep going, and you kind of do know a fair bit, so you don't get surprised so often. But then you just pick up a marble and decide to restore that, and you end up learning quite a bit about it, and quite a bit how your tools interact with it. So I think I'll stick to opal. I'm not sure there's much of a career in marble polishing. Who knows, I have actually watched a couple videos on YouTube with marble racing, and it is pretty funny, but not a huge market. Not a huge demand for restoration of marbles. So I'm going to pack these up and whip out a couple opals. I've got heaps on the cutting desk because I need to get recording. As I would have already explained, this marble came out of the ground when I was digging a conduit in, because that's going to be for the new workshop, which means I'm going to lose my current one at some point. So I've got to plan ahead. Don't want to run out of stuff to have on the channel. So I'm set this one down and I'll start working on the next one. Anyway, have fun, stay safe. Until next time, good luck with your carvings.